Is being antisocial really as bad as society makes it out to be? Let's ponder on that question for a moment. We live in a world that is hyper-connected, where social interactions are not only encouraged but are often seen as a measure of success. You're taught from a young age to be a social butterfly, to network, to mingle, and to constantly seek the company of others. But what if we told you that this societal norm, this unwritten rule that we all seem to abide by, isn't necessarily the only path to success or happiness? In this segment, we're going to challenge this norm. We're not saying that being social is a bad thing, far from it. But we're here to shed light on the other side of the coin, the side that often gets overlooked, the benefits of being antisocial. But first, let's clear up a common misconception. When we talk about being antisocial, we're not referring to the psychological disorder known as antisocial personality disorder. We're talking about individuals who prefer solitude over large social gatherings, who find comfort in their own company, who choose to be alone not because they despise others, but because they value their personal space. There's a societal stigma attached to being antisocial. If you prefer to stay in on a Friday night rather than go out, you're labeled as a loner or an outcast. If you choose to eat lunch alone rather than with your coworkers, you're seen as standoffish or aloof. But is that really fair? Is it fair to label and judge based on one's preference for solitude? The world is full of diversity, and that includes diversity in personalities and preferences. If we can accept and celebrate differences in cultures, races, and religions, why can't we do the same for differences in social preferences? In this journey, we're going to debunk some myths, challenge some norms, and hopefully by the end you'll see that being antisocial isn't a negative trait to be stigmatized. Instead, it's simply a different way of experiencing and interacting with the world. Perhaps it's time to rethink our perception of antisocial behavior. What if I told you that being antisocial can actually be a good thing? This might sound like an unconventional idea, but let's delve into it. First, let's look at creativity. Some of the most creative minds throughout history have been known for their antisocial tendencies. They chose solitude over socialization, and this allowed their imaginations to run wild. It was in the quiet moments of solitude that they could fully explore their minds and create something truly unique. Being antisocial in this context provides an uninterrupted space for thoughts to flourish and ideas to take root and grow. Next, let's talk about productivity. When we're constantly surrounded by others, it's easy to get distracted and lose focus. But when we're alone, we can channel our energy into our tasks and achieve more in less time. This is why many successful entrepreneurs, writers, and artists often prefer to work alone. Being antisocial allows them to maintain a high level of efficiency and productivity. Now, on to self-awareness. Engaging less in social activities can give us more time to reflect on our thoughts, actions, and feelings. This introspection can lead to a greater understanding of ourselves, helping us to recognize our strengths and weaknesses, and ultimately guiding us towards personal growth. When we're always in the company of others, it's easy to lose sight of our own identity, but being antisocial helps us to stay connected with our true selves. Lastly, let's consider mental health. The constant pressure to socialize can cause stress and anxiety for many people. By choosing to be antisocial, we can take a step back from these pressures and give ourselves the time and space we need to recharge. This can lead to improved mental health, as we're better able to manage our stress levels and maintain a balanced state of mind. It appears that being antisocial isn't as negative as we've been led to believe. In fact, it can bring about some truly positive benefits. So the next time you feel the urge to retreat from the world and enjoy some alone time, remember that it's not only okay, but it can also be incredibly beneficial. You might be wondering, do these benefits apply in real life? Well, let's dive into some real-life examples of successful individuals who are known for their antisocial behavior and see how they've harnessed this trait to their advantage. Consider Steve Jobs. The co-founder of Apple was known for his solitary and introspective nature. He was not one for small talk or idle chit-chat. Instead, he used his time to focus on innovative ideas that have revolutionized the tech industry. His antisocial tendencies allowed him to delve deep into his thoughts, leading to creations like the iPhone, which has forever changed our world. Then there's Emily Dickinson, the celebrated American poet. She lived much of her life in relative seclusion, and it is this isolation that allowed her to pen some of the most profound and heart-rending poetry in the English language. Her antisocial behavior was not a hindrance but a catalyst to her creative genius. And what about Albert Einstein? This brilliant physicist was known to be quite introverted and preferred solitude over social gatherings. He once said, "The monotony and solitude of a quiet life stimulates the creative mind." His groundbreaking theory of relativity might not have been conceived in the midst of a lively party, but rather in the quiet of his own thoughts. Lastly, let's look at J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter series. She wrote the first book in this best-selling series while sitting alone in a cafe, away from the hustle and bustle of life. Her antisocial behavior gave her the space she needed to create a magical world that has captivated millions across the globe. These examples show that being antisocial can actually be a strength, allowing for deep introspection, concentration, and creativity. It's about channeling one's energy towards productive and meaningful pursuits, rather than spreading oneself too thin in an attempt to please everyone around. So, success isn't exclusive to the social butterflies after all. So, how can we embrace our antisocial tendencies without feeling guilty or judged? Well, let's dive right in. First, it's essential to realize that being antisocial doesn't mean you're against society or socializing in general. It merely means you value your alone time, and that's okay. It's all about balance. Imagine life like a seesaw. On one side, you have social interactions, and on the other, you have your alone time. Both are important. Too much of either can leave you feeling drained or overwhelmed. So strike a balance that works for you. Another vital aspect of embracing your antisocial behavior is setting boundaries. It's okay to say no to invitations that don't align with your energy levels or interests. It's okay to choose a quiet evening at home over a bustling social gathering. Remember, you're not obliged to meet other people's social expectations. You have the right to prioritize your comfort and peace of mind. Now let's talk about self-care. Often we associate self-care with pampering ourselves, like taking a long bath or indulging in our favorite foods. But self-care is more than that. It's about taking care of your mental, emotional, and physical well-being. If being alone helps you recharge and feel more centered, then that's self-care. Embracing your antisocial tendencies also means accepting yourself as you are. You're not weird or abnormal for preferring solitude over socializing. You're just you, and that's perfectly fine. Don't let societal norms dictate how you should live your life. And last but not least, remember that it's okay to seek professional help if you find it challenging to manage your antisocial tendencies. Therapists and counselors can provide helpful tools and strategies to navigate the complexities of your personality and emotions. Embracing your antisocial side doesn't have to be a daunting task. It's about understanding yourself, setting boundaries, practicing self-care, and seeking help when needed. So go ahead and embrace your antisocial side. You might just find that it's one of the best things you could do for yourself. Being antisocial doesn't make you a misfit. It just makes you different, and that's okay. Let's take a moment to recap what we've learned today. We've challenged societal norms, unveiling the benefits that come with being antisocial. We've heard real-life examples and explored ways to embrace this behavior. All of this has been about understanding and accepting that being antisocial is not a flaw, but rather a unique characteristic that can be harnessed. We live in a world that often celebrates extroversion, a world that can make it seem as though being social and outgoing is the only acceptable way to be. But remember, there's no one-size-fits-all approach to life. Being antisocial can be a strength, a characteristic that enables deeper thought, more focused work, and a greater understanding of oneself. We've seen how being antisocial can lead to benefits such as increased creativity, improved focus, and enhanced personal growth. We've heard from successful individuals who have leveraged their antisocial tendencies to achieve great things. And we've learned that, in the end, it's not about trying to fit into a mold, but about understanding and embracing who you are. So if you find yourself preferring solitude over social gatherings, if you feel energized by your own company rather than the company of others, celebrate that. Harness it. Use it to fuel your creativity, to deepen your understanding of the world around you, and to foster personal growth. Being antisocial is not a defect. It's a different way of interacting with the world. It's a part of who you are, and it's something to be embraced, not shied away from. So take pride in your antisocial tendencies. Recognize them as a part of your unique identity, and remember that it's these differences that make us all uniquely human. Remember, it's okay to march to the beat of your own drum. After all, that's what makes you unique.